As you saw from the CEO compensation, there's a lot more to it than base salaries and a bonus if you are lucky. Let's unpack the options in more detail. I think we're all pretty familiar with base salaries. Dependent on your current base salary, your first aim should always be to increase your base. When it comes to bonuses, most people receive a discretionary bonus, meaning someone above you decides whether you get a bonus or not, and the amount you receive often comes from a small bonus pot allocated for discretionary bonuses. This is the second thing to change. Ensuring your bonus is contracted, as contracted bonus pools are much larger than discretionary ones, and your percentage allocation is most often a percentage of your base. This is why you should always aim to increase your base. It then becomes about negotiating the bonus amount and the circumstances under which it's paid to you. These bonus incentives are either cash or, as we saw from the CEOs, equity. We'll cover these in more detail next. Finally, we get into the long list of benefits and perquisites, or perks, that CEOs earn. Some people other than CEOs will also have many of these perks, as they can often be negotiated. Now let's look at the equity elements. On all equity earnings, the watch-out is the tax liability payable. Often people have to sell some of the shares to cover the tax liability. Typically, there are 3 ways you can earn stock in your company. The first is stock that is immediately allocated to you, meaning you own the shares outright when they are given to you. Next is RSUs, and it represents a future promise of a stock allocation as an incentive for performance. So deliver growth of X% consistently over the next 3 years, and you get Y amount of shares in the company at that time. And the last is stock options, where the value of the allocation is determined today. Say $1 million of stock is allocated, but it vests in 3 years, meaning you only get the stock in 3 years' time. This is the most common equity option for people who are not right at the top of the organization, with the benefit for companies being that they retain you for longer. Keep in mind, when you own stock in a company and that company pays out dividends, you get your dividends too. So the stock you own has value, and that value grows if the value of the company grows, and you get yearly dividends when the company pays out dividends. The first step is to ensure you increase your base. The next is to ensure you get a contracted bonus. The third is to ensure you start earning equity-based incentives. Now let's look at the 4 main reasons for companies awarding bonuses, either in the form of cash or stock, and the 2 types of bonus plans that many companies have that you could and should become a beneficiary of. Number 1 is sign-on bonuses. These are very often to compensate people for losing share options in a previous company when moving to a new one. But these can be negotiated, especially when you are in a strong position, as the company is desperate for you to join them. Next is retention bonuses. Often companies would counter-offer to retain you. In these cases, they may go beyond matching or beating your salary and cash bonus from your new company and offer a retention bonus. Most often, people just don't know they can or should negotiate for a retention bonus in these situations. Let's say your current company offers you stock options that vest over 3 years as a retention bonus, and you decide to stay at your current company. The next time you are offered a new role, you can now negotiate a sign-on bonus to compensate for the loss of future stock options. Or, if you stay long enough for the options to vest, you benefit from becoming a shareholder in your company. Either way, you can definitely increase how much you get paid by being smart during a retention negotiation. The last 2 relate directly to performance, either of you in your role or the company as a whole. The perception of your personal performance is often a major limiting factor in your total compensation. Many of the strategies in this course deal with this challenge. Right at the top, like in the CEO role, the company performance can make or break your compensation. Look at Sundar again. With the massive stock award, Google's done very well under his leadership, awarding him a lotto-style payout. For the rest of us mere mortals, The company performance can often ensure we get the bonuses we expected and worked for or not. Then there are typically two types of plans that companies create to award bonuses to employees. The first is a short-term incentive plan, meaning it pays out immediately. You receive the cash or stock immediately. And the second is a long-term incentive plan, where the company awards you stock options or other benefits that vest sometime in the future. These plans have rules attached to them that are created by the company. For example, in the case of long-term incentive plans, most companies' rules will stipulate that you lose any future vesting should you leave the company. Hence, the reason to negotiate a sign-on bonus with the next company. These plans are the most secure way to earn a contracted bonus, both in the form of cash and equity. Lastly, let's look a little deeper into the benefits and perks. There are federal required benefits that all companies must offer their employees. These are specific to the U.S. Dependent on your country's employee regulations, you may be entitled to specific benefits too. Definitely research this and ensure you have these benefits. And then there are benefits that companies offer beyond the federal or state-specific requirements. The reality is that companies provide a lot of varying benefits and perks to CEOs, and also other employees. Whilst the next lesson focuses on how to benchmark your role, you will also see the differing benefits as companies compete for you. What's key is that you are very clear on the benefits you want and that you negotiate for them.